미디어 컨퍼런스에 참여해 주신 지역 기자분들께 감사를 드리고 그 사전에 자료도 드리고 전시장 먼저 한번 돌아보셨는데 일문일답 진행하기 전에 오늘 참여하신 세 분 작가들 간단한 소개하고 전시 전반에 대해서 설명을 잠깐 드리고 일문일답을 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 이 세 분 작가들에게 궁금한 점이 있으시면은 질문을 좀 해주시면은 답변을 하겠습니다.
Normally everything is difficult, but we have to cope with the difficulties and we have to go through and we have to forget everything. The only thing that stays is our photos. Like this, we can show the reality that what's happening in the world. But normally we shouldn't take all these difficult things on our shoulders. I hope it's clear.
That diplomacy is incredibly important, as is the need to probably not get too stressed out by whatever situation you find yourself in. Because if you do, then you might lose your health, and you probably will lose the ability to think straight and to think objectively. So I try to keep those things in mind.
I think when you go into certain areas, we are not always alone, even if we are alone. Many times I think we all work with fixers and we never mention them in their safety or life insurance. At least I talk for myself. That means that this person, they should get also many times the credit and we always forget them. They bring us in, they bring us out many times. In South America, it is like that. When you go to drug gangs, favelas, or whatever. So, I think this is one part of safety. And of course, when you do a long-term project, you get involved in a certain way. You have to step back again, to re-focus your subject, your issue, your topic. Otherwise, you confuse your own feelings with the reality.
Normally photojournalism is not a fashion photo or publicity photo, because you have so many things around the environment and what's happening in the war or earthquake. We don't need to create anything. The reality is there, and we have to show it as what it is. It's like a mirror, and you have to see yourself in the mirror. And the reality is like this. But normally we shouldn't touch the reality. You should just leave it by itself and just show it the way it is. Like these people, they can trust the news, they can trust what's happening. Like this, you can transfer the reality or what's happening somewhere, but you cannot touch it, it's forbidden.
I think as soon as one decides to be a photojournalist, you probably, along with that, probably comes a realization that you are merely an observer. And as a result, the concept of having an image in your head before you approach something disappears pretty quickly. I can't say I've ever had that particular conflict. Partly because with pretty much every assignment that I undertake, I'm always surprised. So I've sort of learned to not bother trying to conjure up an image in my head before I go somewhere.
I think in the beginning, when you start, you have a shooting plan in mind, as you asked. You have a list of whatever you need, You might need a challenging situation, guns, weapons, etc. But it's never coming like that, because the reality catches you very quickly. It might be different, when you have an assignment and you go for a story that doesn't exist today anymore, and it was the past. Then, of course, you need a special visual language. You have to look for it when it was 50 years ago. So that you must improve a little bit, and you have to think, but we never stage.
Yeah, many times I was afraid, but it's always I say, okay, this is the last time, I don't go. 5 minutes after again, I go back. And normally maybe I'm addicted to this job. It's a kind of addiction. It's a mixture of everything, like this, you like it, you hate it, again you want to continue. Again, there are stories that you like to do, you want to complete the story. Sometimes it takes a long time to complete it. For example, like right now, the story of Yazidi people, like I'm doing it since 2 years, but it's not yet finished because their city was liberated by Peshmerga and YPG a few months ago, but the Yazidis are still in the refugee camps. And now there is another war for liberation of Mosul. And I want to go back to Mosul, but I'm doing this job since nearly 38 years, and always there is a question that I do it, I don't do it. But in the dangerous moments, when you go through very, very dangerous moments, and then you say, okay, it's enough. But when you come back, it's like a little child. When you do some, you start making trouble and you say, don't do, and he says, okay. 5 minutes after, again, start making a little trouble at home. But this is for me the same, it's a game, but I'm still going on.
With regards to restrictions in North Korea, firstly, the first few visits that I made were as part of a delegation of other media organizations, including AFP, that were invited to cover mass events, staged mass events, which were obviously, which had been approved for foreign media to cover. So in that sense, there were no restrictions. In between events, on these trips, there can be opportunities to take pictures that might be more spontaneous or candid, which could potentially get you into trouble. But the key, obviously, is to not be caught, and also to be conscientious that what you're shooting is not overly sensational and is impartial enough that if questioned about it, you can probably dig yourself out. More recently, with the opening of an AFP bureau in Pyongyang, we find ourselves with a great deal more freedom that has to be treated very carefully. So we are constantly walking a very fine line between keeping our hosts happy that we're not actively looking for trouble, and also trying to show something that is not obviously propaganda or obviously staged. But it's a constant challenge. And there have been times when I've been approached because people thought that I was taking an ugly photo or something that they would not approve of. And on these occasions, I've either tried to reason with them by showing them the picture and saying, look, this is not an ugly photo, it's something that everybody can relate to. Or I've just tried to run away. But no, most of the time, it's not really a problem. There's one example, when I was taking pictures of a family next to a fountain, and the light was amazing, and it was a really beautiful, candid moment. And immediately, the minder that was with me ran ahead and told them all to leave. And I found that bizarre. And when I asked him why, he said that it was not beautiful because they were not doing anything constructive. So these are the sorts of challenges that I face. Most of the time, the opportunities for spontaneous pictures have been dissolved before I get there. But when they're not, I try as hard as I can to shoot them.
Number one, I don't take any, for example, I don't take any training because I started my photography from Iranian Revolution in 1979. A few months after we had a war with Iran-Iraq, for me it was a kind of a training, it was like a new school because I was studying internal decoration, and then with the revolution and war, I start slowly taking photos of the conflicts like this. It was my training. And the second one, mental training, not really, because I told you I don't take things very serious. If something happens, I choose this mission, this work as a photojournalist, and I said to myself, don't take everything serious. If somebody beat you, if somebody arrests you, if you are wounded, because I am there. I am not part of their conflict, part of their country, or I am kind of a guest, but nobody has invited me to be there. I shouldn't complain. And I don't take it in my mental and try to suffer. The only thing, maybe mentally, I suffer if I do a bad job. I try to be very honest, straight, and correct with everybody and try to show the reality. If magazine don't really reflect the reality of the story, maybe for a few minutes I get mentally a little bit angry, but normally I don't take it very serious.
So the case of the BBC reporter that you mentioned, I must admit I'm not familiar with. Just in response to that, as a news agency, if we were to say that Kim Jong-un was obese, we would have to attribute it to somebody. So therefore we could pass the blame. So we can't. AFP cannot make statements without attributing them to other people. So we're protected in that sense. Have I ever felt threatened? Normally, I feel threatened as soon as I land in North Korea, in the sense that I have to walk a very delicate line. No one has ever threatened me directly, but I am aware that I am treading a very sensitive path, and that I have to be aware of that at all times, because there are always opportunities to put your foot wrong somewhere.
On my long-term project, which I got started in June last year, I faced a couple of times some strange situation. Really, I was my camera because I had a conflict. But at the very end, this area is controlled where I worked by militia, which is a kind of paramilitaries, ex-soldiers, ex-police, ex-firemen, and we got an arrangement, a treat. So everything was okay at the very end, and I could stay there. I was more concerned at this stage when it happened that I could not finish my project. Of course, you have to deal with it. Regarding health, there was this question. I'm not really prepared with all this health issue. I have my basic vaccines, yellow fever, against, the basic you need, in this place where I have been, I faced many diseases, from TBC, tuberculosis, Zika, dengue, skin diseases, Myself, I experienced twice, a skin disease, in this place. Fortunately, in our developed world, we have the money and the doctors, to cure this, to heal, So, but you cannot take a pill for everything. I have been 1.5 years in Uganda. I never took something against malaria, and fortunately I didn't get it, but I know, it can be totally different. But you cannot take everyday pills and pills and pills. So we take care a little bit about water, the food, and that's the way we try to deal with that.